Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Ekweme, also known as Nancy the Creator, and I'm the Digital Content Manager for Afia TV. On the 28th of December 2023, I was at the office and my boss called me and asked me if I would like to come to Anambra to witness him receiving his chieftaincy title. So obviously that was a very, very interesting request and I accepted wholeheartedly. It's very important that we understand this was my first time seeing anyone receive a chieftaincy title, actually even being at an Ofala Festival, and probably my second or third time in Anambra. Every other time was just like a wedding or something of that sort. So I really wanted to get the full experience and get to learn as much as I could from the few hours that we were there.
Umudioka is semi-nomadic. The people went for some. In fact, there's a celebration among the celebrations that take place called Ije. Okunije is a celebration of the Osofen, you know. We were worshipping, you know, the traditional worship till Christianity came. And you know, the Anglican missionaries came first. You know, they sowed the first seed in 1904. And the priest was Reverend Canon B. Onwosu. Yeah. And the Catholics came in 1913. And the first Catholic priest was Monsignor V.J. Madike, who was ordained in 1958. Ever since then, the Catholic Church has taken over, kind of, because St. Anthony's Catholic Church, Umudioka. From history, we hear is the evil forest that they gave Father Tansi way back. People know Father Tansi is to be made a saint, beautified. Yeah. So we have a lot of Reverend Fathers in Umudioka. The place is swarming of Reverend Fathers.
Umudioka, if you must also be informed, is a unique and peculiar Igbo community. It's probably the only Igbo community I know, I stand to be corrected, that has an indigenous diaspora population. We have Umudioka in Oka, we have Umudioka in Neni, we have Umudioka in Olu.
Umudioka Kozu, Umudioka Kija. There's Umudioka Nzam. There's Umudioka Chala, Umudioka Obote in Igboland. Umudioka in Ojoto, Umudioka in Rivers State.
We have Umudioka in Akwa Ibom, in Cross River. And you'll be wondering, maybe it's a coincidence. Why are these people called Umudioka? In some areas, they are called Umuoka. They don't call it in full, but these ones I've mentioned, there are Umudioka communities in those places. And they all, if you stay to the end of that Ofala, they all send representatives to acknowledge their connection with the source.
The trip was interesting. I was in the same bus as Mr. Mecca, so I got to ask a few questions, and he did explain to me, you know, how he was feeling at the moment. And I mean, this is quite big. I think the name of the title that he was given is Omifuku, which I believe in the very sense of the word means doer of big things. That is someone that, you know, does a lot. And I feel it's very appropriate.
I remember one of my friends said, that's a very, 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 very appropriate title. And the other gentleman asked, why is it appropriate? He said, how many Igbo people have distinguished themselves in Nigeria and they don't have a bad name? And there are not too many of them.
On our trip to Umudioka, that's the name of the village, we had a quick stop in Oka, and it wasn't really long, but I got to see the university, which I've never seen before. I have a couple of friends that school there, and generally just the whole imagery, like the way the town looks, and I don't know, if it felt like a bit quite similar to Enugu, if I must say, in terms of like the way the town is structured, and the houses, how the houses look, the express too. And yes, we got to the location, that's the venue for the chieftaincy thing, and basically the Ofala Festival. And we had a grand entrance. I personally felt really, important, because everybody was looking at us. There were like canopies lined up by both sides, yes, and there were women seated in some canopies and men seated in some before we walked into the main arena that was massive. The Igwe was seated away from the people with his cabinet members, I believe, behind him under another canopy.
In every town, we have a traditional ruler, and then we have the cabinets, which is usually made up of Ichies and Ides in Umudioka. Ide is more like a higher title because it's given per village. And when you are given, for you to become an Ide, it's not just enough that you take a title, that you are an Ozo title, that's what is called Eku. You have to do that one too. And then you become qualified to be nominated as an Ide. And what it really means is that, as we call it, cabinet, Igwe's cabinet, they are the advisors of the traditional ruler to guide him on how to, get things done properly in the town. So really, the cabinet is made up of Ides and Ichies, and these are the people who advise the traditional ruler.
Okay, the procession was very colorful. Why am I saying this? Basically, you had this, picture this, multiple men in white on white regalia with blue detailing, and that was not the colorful part. The colorful part was their headgear. It was some massive, ornaments on their heads that had multiple colored feathers, and there's some sort of rope to tie under their chin. And they were doing the whole moving around and like greeting people. They'd stop in front of the canopies, stop in front of people sitting in the bleachers, and they just wave and acknowledge everybody's presence. That was interesting.
The first procession you saw, that one is led by the Igwe. The truth is that if Igwe wants, it's optional. He will also join in that one. But since he wasn't there, the person who would lead it is the chairman of the cabinet, and that is the Onowu. Onowu is the traditional prime minister, and we have a very vibrant Onowu, Dr. Bena Muta. He's the Onowu. You could see him, showing the swag. So he leads it. It's actually to go around, greet the people, both the town and the visitors, but also to show off your traditional regalia with those heavy things you put on the head and very colorful things. So it's just to go around and do it. And as we were doing it, the Nzoba were entering. The Nzoba is they are the traditional also holders in the whole of the town. So all of them in their white and their red cap. But not everybody, the Nzoba, they are not members of the cabinet, they are under the cabinet. And it's made up of also people from the 10 villages. When my father died, because he took that Ozonwa title for us, which I gave to my brother. When he died, and it's mandatory, if I do Ozonwa for my sons, when I die, all the traditional rulers, the traditional institution in Dunukofia, there are 6 towns in Dunukofia. It will be mandatory on my family to go and announce to them during their market days that this person has died and that this person took a high title and that he will be buried on so and so day. Maybe in the past, these things had to do with fetish things because again, then religion was just coming. The missionaries came. Before the missionaries came to us, we had traditional institutions and there were it was both spiritual, it also had the judiciary because you could settle disputes and so on. And when you settle, that's it. Even up to today, if the town decides that you are not doing the right thing, they will ostracize you if you don't agree to do. And if they ostracize you, nobody will come to you. It's said nobody will relate with you, nobody will visit you, nobody will trade with you. So you're isolated. And it's still happening till today, So the women are the wives of the chairs and the cabinet members, the days and the chairs. The Onowu and the wife of the Igbo. Well, they join us and they follow the procession after us to enter. And that's really their role. White is associated with purity. Only recently did I even understand, as a titled man, if I come, I won't greet you. We have to take a turn to do the first one, do the second one, do the third one, and then we can shake. And somebody explained it recently. He said that it also signifies the Trinity. There are 3 persons in one God. So if you take a title, it has to be 3. You greet 3 times. The Ataliozo, it's not everybody that can wear it. Some people can get away with putting red cap on. If you wear that one, there was this psychological thing that before you can put it on, you must have gone through a process. Which was why in the past, a lot of people were not willing to take titles because they thought it had to do with fetish things. Well, I've gone through it. I didn't do any fetish thing. You recently went through it. You didn't bring any traditional god for you to, swear to. And it is believed that anyone who's dressed like that will not be involved in evil. So those are significant aspects of the traditional institution.
There were also women wearing white that I was told are women that have titles. They had these large white bands on their legs and on their arms. And that was, I think, something I found really interesting because it's really beautiful to see women with titles. The population was mostly, I would say probably like 70% men, and the other 30% was these women with titles, and then the friends and family of the people receiving chieftaincy titles and of people who already had these titles that were present to be there to support the Igwe.
The Iyioms, like my mother is an Iyom, but that one is thing that is peculiar to Onitsha and those riverine people. Because that guy, the guy that brought them, is marrying somebody from Umudioka. So those particular women are not from Umudioka. They came with him because he was being given a title. Maybe you know, he used to be with Guardian. They gave him a title that day.
I took the title. Is it better to use the word took? I was given the title, conferred on good, the title Igbo Jinka. That is the eagle with creativity. Umudioka is about creativity. You understand? This is the eagle, and I happen to marry from my beautiful wife is from Umudioka.
Wow.
So I am actually with the guy with me, and I happen to also be a creative person. I work in the creative industry. I'm an artist, I'm a journalist, and I'm an author. So all those things culminated to this title, Igbo Jinka, Umudioka.
Congratulations, sir.
MC,
onye ejiriri ya aka n'azụ gosi na ọbata Ifeadị Ochigo. Yes, can you say a certificate? Umudioka.
The moments they announced, Emeka Mba for the chieftaincy, I got really excited. Obviously, I feel everybody else that was there as well got really excited. We moved away from the section that we were seated at, and we began to proceed towards where the Igwe himself was seated, with the cabinet, I think, right behind him. And it was, I really can't lie, it felt like such a sacred moment.
The more than 3 decades experience in convert fields of media, entertainment and communication technology, as well as regulatory policy management, and is considered by many of his peers as a leading visionary and thinker. And thinker in the role of government policy and technology shaping the trajectory and growth of the sector and its impact on social and economic development. Of National Film and Video Censors Board and later DG of National Broadcasting Corporation. Emeka was also a head of content. Emeka was also a head of a content and regulatory affairs at All Choice Nigeria, where he conceived and facilitated the launch of the continent's Emeka was awarded the African Broadcast Regulator of the Year for his groundbreaking work in the sector. Emeka graduated from Enugu State University of Science and Technology with BSc in Mass Communications and Advanced Management Program, every diploma in media and entertainment. Emeka attended many other courses at local and international institutions. Mr. Ma is the fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, as well as the Institute of Information Management, and a Nigerian Copyright Medal of Honor recipient. Today, His Majesty Umudioka II will bestow on him a chieftaincy title. Biko anyị na-ayọ onye ọbụla anyị na-eme serious business ebe a. Onye ọbụla ga-anọ nwayọ. Ịnọrọ nwayọ, ị na-observe ife a na-eme. Obi Ifugu Umudioka. Obi Ifugu Umudioka.
During Ofalas, one of the key things that we do at most Ofala is to recognize illustrious sons of the land and friends of the community who have done very well in their own spheres of authority. Some people recognize the governor of the state, maybe for political reasons, but there are people we single out who, when you go through their profile, you'll find out that these are the creme de la creme of the society. So I remember that the Ofala we had last year, we had many people who were given titles, senators. I can remember Victor May was given a title. The Archbishop, who also comes from our town, was given a bishop. The proprietor of Afia TV, who has distinguished himself in media globally and in Nigeria with an intimidating profile, was also actually given the title of Omeifuku Igbo.
Well, I'm very happy. I'm excited. It's a new phase in my life. And it's a great honor to receive this title today. So, yeah. I'm very happy, obviously, quite excited. Yeah. Everything in God's time, I think. It so happened that it came at a time when I was willing to accept it. And, so, yeah. The truth is, at least for me and for the brand, part of the sole reason of establishing Afia TV was to, from our motto, from our vision, is promotion of Igbo, our lifestyle, our businesses, and our culture. That's the essence of what the channel is about, and we are unabashed, and we believe strongly that the Igbo culture should be aggressively promoted and highlighted, and that's what we do. And we hope that. And I mean, to be honest, I'm glad that people are recognizing that and are seeing that our effort, the little effort we're putting through, is beginning to be well received by audiences and by
communities, not just in Igboland but across Nigeria, because I think that being an Igbo is very key, to Nigeria. I mean, we're a very important, constituent of the country. So, yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm honored. It's one of those recognitions that you had hoped for on his behalf, and that is coming at this particular time. So I am very, very excited. I'm very grateful to the community for what they have done. And you may not understand it, but the whole broadcast community will be wishing this community well for what they have done today. This is a recognition for his exploits and his achievements within the broadcast industry. And if there's anybody in Nigeria or even in Africa that has done more than Emekamba, I'll be very, very surprised to know that particular person.
Okay, I think another event within the main events that happened that got my attention was what I was told is called Ibuichi, if I'm pronouncing it right. That's IGBU space ICHI, and it's what I basically saw that day was this traditional man walking into the arena with some very large pawpaw leaves. And he placed, what are pawpaw leaves? Okay, plantain leaves. And he placed the mat on the floor, placed the leaves over the mat, and had this young man lay on it. They used a small Swiss knife looking tiny dagger to make small incisions on this man's face. My first thought was, how is he lying so still? He took it like a champ. He wasn't even moving. I mean, obviously there was no anesthesia administered. There was nothing. He just literally laid there and had carvings made on his face by this traditional man that was standing above him. And right after that, there's some black substance he used to cover these openings, these wounds or these carvings, which I was told was hot coal. And the man stood up and began to jump. So that's another thing that I really thought about for a second. Like, is that pain? Is that joy? What is he going through right now? Because personally, if I had gone through that level of pain, I'm not sure that the first thing I would do would be to jump. And right after that, he walked straight to the Igwe and he gave him the traditional handshake as well, and returned back to where he was earlier and continued to jump. He seems kind of excited about it.
According to Dunukofia mythology, Dioka is the first son of Dunukofia. And we are Umudioka, the children of Dioka. Yeah. And it was said that when Dioka, you want to learn a trade or something, when he wanted to settle Umudioka, when Dunukofia wanted to settle, he now chose scarification.
In those days, very, very key thing about beauty was scarification, and traditionally they call it Ibuichi. So you see people with something that looks like trabama, but they carve it so well. And if you had that thing, the Ichi, it shows that you're a strong man.
And scarification in those days is like what you will call, is it ngabasi now, or a thing of beauty, you know. They felt if you were a man, that the man that will have honor, you needed to scarify your face. You needed the ichi. And there are certain things you do before you did the scarification thing. And also somehow, on the social straight, I helped because during the times of slave trade, if they caught people from my place, they let them go because they had marks on their body.
It also shows in those days that nobody can harass you with native efforts. I'm sure you know what I mean. Because for you to go through it's a week-long thing for them to determine whether you have the strength to go through the final process.
So it was a life saver for Umudioka people. So we didn't go out there a whole lot. Like some people are discovering their lineage from Ebonyi, from all parts of Igbo. TDJs. We had the televangelist, you know, very popular one in America. He's traced his roots back to, I think Forrest Whitaker also, you know, and a couple of them, Beyonce, Peter Doce told us, Rihanna.
So because it was a thing of beauty, we had Umudioka men going from one community to another to Ichi, if I will put it that way. And when they do it, all the people in that community will behold beauty and say, wow, this is good.
They were like semi-nomadic. They moved around, you know, what they call Ijosu, you know, moving from village to village, from town to town. And when they got there to do the stuff, they were also carpenters, you know, teaching people trade. So they settled. So when they go for the scarification, and after doing that, the people they came to visit might just give them a wife.
And then they start having children, and from there you have a village. So that was it. They were traveling, and they were also noted as medicine men, because we had lots of problems with communities around us, particularly Ogidi, who always coveted our markets and wanted to take it over. You know, so the Ofala is a celebration of culture, of the finest values of the town. And Umudioka people were proud. As a matter of fact, one of their names is Umudioka Jogoda Bontu. And what it meant was that in those days, you made very big this thing, and you had to be rich to be Jide Ogodo Ene Bontu.
Chief Senator Dr. Victor Ume, Leader Mama Igbo, Umudioka, Dike, Obona Ejibiaba, Ejimaya,
There is this renaissance, this regeneration of our culture, and it's intentional to raise a new generation of people who may not necessarily go back to what the olden people, what they did in those days, but who recognize the fact that if you are from so and so place, then you're expected to live above board. The truth is that as Igbos, we must discover our culture, our values, for us to survive as a people. I'm not interested in all these things about whether you restructure Nigeria or not, but let's all get organized internally. Let us raise children who know where they are coming from and what is expected of them. The traditional institution, they can help. in this renaissance you're talking about. But then you must also make sure that those who you get into the system are qualified, have the cultural, spiritual balance to be able to lead properly and show the way to our people, our children particularly. But I believe that the average person from the southeast, we have nothing to lose. We have everything to gain by the Akulueno. I am happy that some of the governors from Anambra to Abia to Enugu here, they are beginning to see the need to do things properly. When we develop our place, our children will have jobs, our children will do well. And if they know the right values, and it's in family units that you can do this, and then, of course, if you're doing it in family units in towns, there are towns you go to now, you can't behave anyhow. If you behave anyhow, they will ostracize you. So that's the importance of viable traditional institutions, not the ones that are given as a result of like person has money. But like in my place, the man who is the Igwe, it's not because he's wealthy that they put him. The people chose him. If they were to use money as a parameter, maybe he wouldn't get it. So you must enthrone those who have character, who can, lead the people well, and the people will follow. And that's what is happening. I am happy. So many communities now. We were just talking about the man in Udi. You know, there was massive turnout. And everybody was saying, this is the man we want. It's going to replicate itself in many places. Afia TV is doing very good. It's a very good initiative. I must tell you, when you start a good thing, Satan will try everything to stop you by discouraging you, but you must stay focused. If you do, it will be much bigger than anything you imagined. Because if Igbos are together, wow, they can move the world. You know.
And if you are the Nacho, you never say I get 100,000. We will go early age, you might never be. If you get 100,000, where will you go?
In a nutshell, I had a great time. I'm not saying that because there was food and drinks, plenty food and drinks, but I'm saying that because I got to see things that I hadn't seen before and learn quite a bunch of new things as well. You know, seeing the Ibuichi and seeing the chieftaincy and how like the whole process behind it was a beautiful experience. And one thing that I decided from that day was to do more research basically on Igbo tradition as a whole, on tradition in the Southeast, on the culture of the people of Umudioka, and probably attend another Ofala Festival. Yes, I mean, this was my first, and it will definitely not be my last, because I mean, I had a fantastic time. Congrats once more to Mr. Mecca for his title as Mifuku of Umudioka. It's still Nancy Ekweme, aka Nancy the Creator, and you're watching Afia Attends on Afia TV.